Animal Engineering, welcome back to another episode. In this episode I am going to tackle mounting this battery, and then in the last episode, that quick little update, you've seen all that bird nest of wiring going down the back to the air suspension control unit and come back to the battery. I'm going to tackle those magical electrical pixies for the first time, my first sort of major electrical thing on the van. We'll see how that goes. First things first, we'll get this battery mounted. It's just a bit of a pain every time you push it forwards. Things, all these loose things that are on it still go under the chassis and they roll up, and it's just going to destroy something. So first off, we'll design something up and we'll get the battery mounted, and then we can run all the cables. I'll put a few measurements off the old battery, and I've gone into Fusion and drawn something up. This is what I've got drawn up here. Simple sort of little tray. And bring it into the chassis. So this is where I'm at with the model of the chassis now. I've got the air suspension tank and all that stuff in there. And coming in, that's where the battery tray will sit. So I'll basically go from there, create a flat pattern. So you get your flat pattern, and you just go hit DXF export. So yeah, basically exported that out to the old plasma cutter, and then that's what I've got there. So now I'm just going to fold that up, and then we can get that mounted onto their chassis. Those were checked in the last episode, a little update one. You've seen I made these little protractor things for marking out your tube, doing exhaust and stuff. I've now got them up on the website, so I've got these 180 degree ones and also have a smaller 90 degree one. Pretty handy, so yeah, if you want to help the old channel out and make your life a bit easier, head over there and it's an STL download, and you can 3D print it at home. So it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can get your hands on the file. Just don't sell it to anyone else. So anyway, we'll fold up this tray, and then we'll be able to get the battery mounted. Alright, a little bit of folding and mucking around. I've made a little arm up. The slot sort of hooks in there like that, comes around. Yeah, that should do the job for now. I may redo that at some point in the future. For the time being, I'm just going to tack it onto the chassis. I'm not 100% that this will be the finished battery that will get used in the van. It is the one that was in the Holden, so it was big enough for the Holden. But we shall see. I'm not 100% sure that it's going to be sufficient for the van as well. But as it is, should do the job. Alright, well, there you go, that is the battery mounted. Little hook bit there worked out alright. Yeah, as I say, not 100% committing to that just yet. So, waiting with a couple of tacks on there. We shall see. Now my next mission is to try and sort out the wiring. I'm going to draw up what's here, so when I cut it to pieces and put it back together, hopefully it should go right. I must say, electrical stuff does freak me out a bit. I don't really understand it that much. So yeah, PDM thing seems to make a lot more sense to me. Like, you tell it input's coming from here and output it out of here. It seems pretty straightforward. This relay stuff, I don't know. For some reason it just doesn't gel in my noggin. The main thing we've got to do is, at the moment, the relays are pretty close to the compressors, and I want to relocate them so they're by the battery. Also in the power line there's also fuses. I want to get them, they are by the battery, but eventually I'm going to get like a little fuse block. Once I know exactly how many fuses I will need. I don't think I'll need a lot. I think these are 30 amps, so the only way I could use a PDM, I think, is if I bridge two outputs together, which I'm running out of outputs, I think, already anyway. So I'm going to keep these with the fuse and just keep this electrical system for the air suspension as it is with the relays and everything. That way it should be a bit less confusing and it works. A bit scary. Like right now it's a perfectly functioning harness from a factory that's about to get chopped up by someone who doesn't really know electrical that well. But as long as colours go to colours, should be fine. Alright, we've been playing around for a little while. I've started on this secondary harness, so this is the one for the second compressor. Basically this red wire that goes off into nowhere is the power wire, which really needs to be pretty close to the relay because the relay is going to be by the battery. This grey wire, that just links the two relays together, so that also can get shortened up a fair bit so the two relays can be close. This white one with the red band, that goes power to the compressor, and then the earth goes straight from the battery to the compressor, so that's pretty straightforward. Pretty much whatever I chop off this red one, the real long one, I'm going to splice onto this one. And then, I don't know what's going on here, I don't understand why, but this little red one, which goes onto one of the terminals of the relay, is spliced into this other red one. The other one should be basically exactly the same, it's just branched in because it's got other wires coming from like the control module of the it's got wires from the control module going out to all the height sensor takeoffs as well, so it shouldn't be too hard to do, I don't think. Well, rightio, I've started diving into the other part of the harness. Things have escalated. There are wires, branched into wires, like, see, it's just chaos. But all I've got to do is try and get this relay down the other end of the workbench by that one, and then have this plug. I'm going to try and get those two plugs. I'm going to try and get those two plugs about 3 meters apart, which sounds a lot easier than it is, but taking heaps of photos, taking a few videos as well, even following it up. So we shall see. Alright, well, I've been at it for an hour or so now. I think I'm getting there. I've managed to separate this little branch out. Now, I've put a terminal on here, so instead of running a third ground lead all the way back from the battery, I'm just going to terminate that into the chassis, which should hopefully work. I'm pretty much banking on that working, otherwise this is just going to be a shit show. So I've got me power and earth there, that's going to run all the way up to where the compressor and everything is. And then coming up this way, so the two grey wires are now these two white wires, and then this red wire I have to splice into here. So I've already done this splice. Focus. So I'll splice that into there, and then that will go off to the battery. This one's going to go off to the battery, and then this one and this one, those two have to go back to the compressors. So I'm reasonably confident that what I'm doing is going to work. Luckily, because there was so much extra harness, I've been able to reuse some of this, I don't know what they call, like an anaconda stuff, whatever it is, it gets bigger and you put it on. So I've got heaps of one length left. I've still got another whole length left, which I want to try, and once it's all done, get all of this into, so it all runs back. I do need to get another size of heat shrink so I can get that little branch off looking a lot nicer. Yeah, for a first attempt at wiring, I think it's going pretty good. A good test for what's to come anyway. Oh, there is not a single piece of wiring in that van. I've got to wire the whole lot up, which is a pretty daunting future task. But anyway, I'll keep plugging along and give you an update once it's all done, and we'll start throwing it onto the chassis, and hopefully, I really hope it works. Should do. Everything's going where it was before, so it should be good. Rightio, well, fast forward a little bit, and I've got it all back on the chassis now. It's not 100% finished, you'll see. But down here, there's still a lot of extra length there in the wires that go to the two compressors. Later on, when I go to do the rest of the wiring, I'll get plugs and stuff. I'll tidy that up and I'll put some plugs so you can actually unplug them. They're just crimped and heat shrinked for now, but from you seeing what it was before, it is much tidier. It's all just sitting there for now. It's all just sort of sitting loose. When I do the final wiring, I'll get some more of this anaconda stuff and I'll actually bunch all three of these together so they're in just one piece. And then coming up the front here, this is a shit show. It is a mess. This is why I don't like relays as well. They're just hard to make them look good, I feel. But I've got the two fuses up here, so eventually once I work out all my wiring, I'll probably 3D print like a little box, so it'll go down in here and that'll house all that and tidy it up. But yeah, looking a lot better. Well, that there now, without all that wiring there, is looking a hell of a lot better. It was doing my OCD in a bit. Yeah, still a bit to tidy up, but the general gist of it, there's enough length on here at the end where the fuses are to trim that down to put it into a box later on, and same at the other end. The main trunk going to the control module is good, that's a good length, so I'm pretty happy with it overall. But pretty confident that everything is as it was, just rearranged, but pretty much everything is still going where it should go, I believe. So, with that being said, turn on my ignition and everything should come to life. Bit nervous. Oh, look. Yes! Well, they're alive. You can hear the compressors. So that right there is part of the reason why I got the new compressors. So the old ones were only a 30% duty cycle. So because now it's just straight on. Should turn off. We might have an issue here. Something is not as it should be. They should have turned off. we have to have a bit of an investigation. That just got up to, it was about 160 psi. I'm pretty sure it was cutting off at like 150 before. So we shall try and work out what's going on. Alright, well, false alarm. It's freaking out a bit there, but so we went back through the controller, and I'm sure it used to cut off at 158, but it was set at max pressure of 170, and while I was fluffing around it got there and they stopped. We've got some rain. Can't see rain on camera. Dickhead. We haven't had rain in months. Anyway, it is working. See. Alrighty, well it has stopped raining, so I can do a little outro. It gets bloody noisy in here. The old rain smashes the roof. But yeah, that's first, I guess, biggish wiring job. Didn't go too bad. I think, you know, obviously I was just replicating what was there, so it shouldn't have been too bad. But I am not super confident with wiring. So I think on the next episode I'm either going to, I haven't decided yet, I'm either going to do these little close-in panels by the exhaust so I can mount the air lines and the brake lines, or I'll move on to the tank so I can move towards getting it started. Which I'm kind of leaning more towards the tank because I would like to actually get this thing fired up. It's pretty close, everything, like really everything's here to make it run, and then I could do some pretty sketchy stuff and take the van for a drive. It's probably not a good idea. But anyway, if you have made it this far, cheers for watching. Go to my website, download a file, doing the tube marking, help us out. See you on the next one.